multi-ethnic percussionist, which means that I've traveled around the world collecting instruments, and I've always been on a found sound treasure hunt. So I look and I listen for things that maybe music around me that I've never really considered coming from musical instruments, or I look for cool things that are things that make cool sounds that aren't musical instruments. So some of the things I found on my found sound treasure hunt come from plants, and then some come from animals. These are dried nut shells. They're called juju seed pods. Can you guys say that? Seed pods. And then from animals, we also even have goat hooves, goat toenails. And these make a similar sound. A lot of the things that we find lying around, this is a big bean that grew on a tree in Peru, and when it started to dry out, they put bands to keep the pod from spilling the beans. And when it completely dries, those are the seeds that rattle inside. And so I keep my ears open, and sometimes I hear songs, or I call these my rhythms of life, my songs of life. Have you ever heard a song like this? So this is a little squeaky toy that uses a little violin rosin to help it squeak. And I keep as I travel, I listen to the songs of birds in different places, and I collect different types of flutes and whistles, and a lot of the times I listen back and see if I can actually communicate with the animals that I hear. If you've ever anyone played the Legend of Zelda video game?
Yeah.
You may be familiar with the ocarina sound. But I use this to call pigeons and doves. So a lot of the times I take traditional instruments and I try to use them in different ways. I create these natural soundscapes, and it just helps me tune in to the music found around me. But some of the most important ones I wanted to show you today, someone took a stick or a piece of wood and cut some grooves in it, and when they played it, like a scraper, they thought that it sounded like a frog. And just like us, frogs come in all shapes and sizes, and each one has a unique voice. That's part of what makes us special individuals. Now, before you hear this size frog, what do you think its voice is going to sound like? Higher or lower? Lower. Lower. So larger instruments usually make a lower sound. Now, I have these bass drums tuned for a high and a low, but if I wanted to, I could use the tuning screws, and I could lower the tension on this one to go lower than this one if I increase the tension. Have you guys all played Boomwhackers? Yes. So the Boomwhackers, I can show them to you like this, and I bet you already know which one's going to sound low. Yep. Yellow or green? Yellow. Oh, I heard some greens. Let's see. So longer makes a sound lower too. Sometimes we can use different techniques. When I'm playing a drum, the ones like we played a couple years ago, I can play it, and anybody can walk up and make a sound on a drum. That's what's so fun about it. But as a multi-ethnic percussionist, I dig deeper, and I try to find sounds maybe that you just haven't thought of that are possible in a drum. I can get a real low sound, a medium, a high. I can also do things like air or ocean sound. Or I can play it in different positions and it feels completely different. If I put my arm inside, the pitch goes lower. So this is what created a lot of the instruments that we know today. What started out as just a shipping crate or wooden box, sometimes even metal, and plastic boxes these days can make cool sounds. This started out as something that someone was probably going to throw away after it was used to store something. And somebody realized that when they play it in different places, they can create a whole drum set from this box. Not bad for a box, is it? People ask all the time, Mr. Holland, what's your favorite instrument? And it used to be really hard to decide, but are you familiar with the big steel drums from the Caribbean? They're made out of a 55-gallon metal oil drum, oil barrel. Well, they took one of those and they turned it upside down, and they put another one on the bottom, and it turned out to look kind of like a UFO or a flying saucer. And this has become one of my favorite instruments, called the handpan. I can play single notes, which in music, we call that the melody. It's the part of the song that we can sing and it uses different pitches of high and low. Say it like this. Melody, melody is what we sing. Or, one of the things that I'm going to challenge you guys is to see if we can learn a melody, and I want to see if we can add chords. And so chords are when we stack notes in harmony. And there's even some secret notes that I found. These are called harmonics. Or I can play it in a modern way. They start around $2,000. This custom stainless steel one took almost 2 years to make, and it ended up costing me almost $4,000. So my found sound treasure hunt sometimes leads me to find much cheaper instruments. I found this in the toy section of a Dollar General store, and so you can imagine it was much cheaper. It wasn't. I don't think it was a little more than $1. I think it was about $2. But we know when we blow air across the flute, it makes a sound. Now this opening, this tube is too wide to do that with, but if I spin it like this, you'll start to hear the first note. And then when I spin it faster, so you can make a lot of different types of sounds. Just last week, I found the pocket version, and when these came in the mail, my biggest, the thing that I liked the most was the sound that it made when I was opening it up. Listen to how the pitch changes. Did you notice that it went from, what, high to low? And then I can use it like the wind spinner. Or when I make it compact again, doesn't that make a cool sound back from low to high? So I wanted to show you kind of how that works. The Native American flute, this is actually a double flute called a drone. This side represents, the Native Americans believe this side represents the rhythms we can't change in the universe, like when the sun rises or sets, or the change of the seasons. It's always represented by this note. This side represents the things that we can change. And so if I cover all of the holes, it uses the whole length of the tube. When I start to open the holes, it starts to break it up into shorter sections. What do you think that's going to do to the pitch? Now when I put them together, see if you can listen for the, hold your applause guys, I want to get you playing as quick as I can. So this is, when I play, see if you can hear the note that stays still and the notes that move around that note. Now, just like the handpan, there's a modern way to play it too. Check this out. you can always use some of the traditional technique that I've learned from other cultures, or you can kind of invent your own way. Now, before we get to the Boomwhackers, I want to give you guys a little rhythm test. Can we do that?
Yep.
And I also want to do it with the instrument that I record the more than any other instrument that I own. They're simple shakers, but I want to show you some new ways to play them so that we sound great as a group. Let's pick it up in the hand that you write with and get warmed up a little bit. Shake them up high, shake them down low, shake it really, really fast. Now shake it really slow. Shake it really loud, shake it really soft. See if you can keep shaking it soft, but go as low as you can and play as fast as you can. Just keep it soft. So if we call that piano, which means soft, come up to mezzo piano, which is medium soft, mezzo forte, forte, and fortissimo. Bring it back down to forte. So it's still pretty loud. Forte means loud. Mezzo forte, mezzo piano, piano, and pianissimo. Nice. So hold it in front of you. In fact, do this. Switch to the hand that you don't write with. And what I want to do is I want to build some of our notes. So how many of these go into a whole note? 4. So what we want to do is play together on one, but only count the other 3 beats like this. Go 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Don't play the notes in between. Just the 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Half notes play 1 and 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. So half notes get 2 beats each. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now to add our quarter notes, let's tap on the top on 2 and 4. Go 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Can you double? Everybody, cut time. Go 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Tap, tick, tap. Oh, sorry. Tick, tap, tick, tap, tick, tap, tick, tap, tick, tap, tick, tap. 4, 3, 2, and give yourself a round of shaker applause. Nice. Pretty like it's a rocket ship. Blast off up into space. Watch out for the moon. Take a couple of quick orbits. Put out your landing pad. And slowly bring it down in front of you. Now right now you're probably in the hand back that you don't write with, I'm assuming. Let's switch to the hand that you write with and hold it in front of you flat like this. Drop your wrist down a little bit and say we. Pull it back to you and say can. Now hold on to it, but you want to make an accent or a little louder note. Shake. And then bring it back for and. Let's put it together. We can shake and we can shake and we can shake and we can shake and. Keep going. Keep on with 5 feet. We can shake and 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 we can shake and. We're going to pass out Boomwhackers, and one of the things that I've learned is that, you know, we can play Boomwhackers and make some pretty cool rhythms on them. But I'm very limited playing by myself, and so as we pass out different colors, you're going to really have to pay attention to where to play on your part so that we make sure that we're sounding good or are able to play the songs. Now, our songs are based on what we call, can you guys say diatonic? Diatonic. So the diatonic scale, this happens to be a C major diatonic scale, and you've probably used this before when you're warming up your voice. Can you say do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Now see if we can go backwards. Do, ti, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do. Nice. Now when we put songs songs together, or do you remember what a melody is? What's a melody in a song? How can you describe it? I heard it. Everybody say the tune. It's the part of the song we sing. So see if you recognize this song. You don't have to sing it, but I think you may know it. Are you sure? So, now I heard a lot of Twinkle Twinkle, but did you ever think that that could also be A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P? So it could be both songs, only if we change the words. Now, I also create chords from these notes by putting certain notes together. And so when we're playing our songs, sometimes we may just want to do a C major chord. So I can use C, E, G, and C. Or if I wanted to do an F major chord, I start on F, F, A, C, and I can actually use the bottom C there too. And then if I wanted to do you want a real hard one? Yeah. If I wanted to do a G major 7 chord, which is kind of complicated, I would do a G, B, D, and an F. Now I promise I won't get too complicated today. We want to keep it kind of simple. So the most important thing is that we make a good tone. And as an artist, I know you guys know how to play Boomwhackers, right? You just hold on to it, you whack something, or you hit the floor. But we also want to make sure that they don't bend and that they stay in tune. And so to get the best tone, you don't want to hold all the way at the bottom. You want to slide your hand up about 2 or 3 inches so that it doesn't change the pitch. If you hold too close to the bottom, it changes your note and you won't sound in tune with anybody. So when you hold it like this, the best tone that they make is from the sweet spot, and that's about the same distance from the edge. If you have a longer one, you still want to be about 2 or 3 inches from the edge, and that's going to get the best tone. If you play in the middle, it doesn't make a sound. So I see people do that, and they play harder, and they hurt their hands. So the other thing is you don't want to play right on the edge either, or that doesn't make a sound. Now, of course, when you're playing the floor, that's what you're using, and it's not as good of a sound. Can you hear the difference? It's twice as loud. I'm playing basically the same way. So hold your other hand out. I'll play, you play. It'll start really simple, but let me finish the phrase. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So those are simple number figures that you can always go back to for the basic rhythms. Are you ready for level 2? Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Can I give you a longer one? It goes like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Oh, wait, I said it was going to be longer. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Ready? Let's do it together. Ready? Go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Or I can do the opposite. So I'm going to do crescendo, to gradually get louder, and then what's the opposite? Does anybody know? Decrescendo. I'm going to gradually get softer. Ready? Go. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Nice. I think you're ready for level 3, are you? So I could add some other notes. I could add eighth notes. I could go. Or maybe toss a 16th note. And see if you can add your beat to what I'm playing. One, to make up your home. ready for level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5?
Yeah.
Awesome. So now I want you to play your beat, but only if I hold up the color of your Boomwhacker.
Oh, okay.
So let's start with ready, go. Just the red Boomwhackers. Just the red. Go. La, 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 boom, bala, la, boom, bala, la, be, say again. Bala, la, boom, bala, la, boom, bala, la, be, say. Hey, na, na, la, be, say. Hey, na, na. Only sing the melody in your head, and let's hear the Boomwhackers. Ready? Go. Again. Recognize that song? Probably not. It's a song from West Africa, and Havise means harvest, and the word it's talking about when two groups, like two classrooms, come together to do something greater than one can do by themselves. And so they're talking about bringing in the harvest, but it's really talking about teamwork. So,